And we're back on Montreal Now with Justine McIntyre and Sarah Day. We're going to be talking to you about the workplace schedule and how that may have changed now that we're back in a hybrid work model. A little bit later, we'll be getting back into the mustache controversy. We had a lot of you calling in and commenting on that earlier in the show, so that'll be fun to get into that with Josh Freed from the Montreal Gazette. But first, we're going to be speaking with guest Annie BOILARD. She's the president of Reseau d'Annie RH, Annie Reseau RH Network, and is an expert on leadership and life at work. We're talking about the workday dead zone and how you can avoid it. Our next guest is one that comes on the show from time to time to talk about workplace trends. Welcome, Annie BOILARD.
Hi.
Hi. So ever since we've entered into the hybrid work model, 4 to 6 p.m. is now being termed the new workday dead zone. Apparently, it's now the hardest time to reach people, and there's a feeling that things would be easier if people were present in the workplace and accounted for, although many workplace workers seem to be also leaving offices earlier, even the ones who are going into their physical workplace. Can you talk to us about how this is impacting workplaces?
Yeah, the 4 to 6. And it would be interesting for people to think, what do I do between 4 to 6? And if I'm at work, does it really work for me? Like, am I really getting things done? Because more and more people are leaving the office earlier or not as concentrated or focused as they used to be at that period of time. Sometimes they have other responsibilities that kicks in. And at the end of the day, a lot of people are saying, well, we don't get anything done at that time. So one of the ways that companies are now looking at it is instead of having two type of schedule, like 5 to 8 or 9 to 5, and then personal time right after that, it's more kind of a 3-step process where I have my work day. I have my 4 to 6 where I will be like free to do things that I need to do. If I need to leave early so I can avoid traffic, if I need to do something for the kids, then give me my 4 to 6. And then I will do my personal stuff that I need to do, and I will connect after that around 9, 10 o'clock, and I will finish my workday. So instead of looking at it as 2 steps, it's more like a 3-step process, and yet it increases the fact that between 4 to 6, not much really happens.
So when you talk about a 3-step process, what it actually sounds to me like is we're extending the workday. And wasn't that one of the risks of working from home, is having work life bleed into family life and take more and more of our personal time?
Yes, and everything related to how to disconnect from work, because this 3-step makes it even more difficult to disconnect, because I'll be, taking my emails and texts later on during the day. And I agree with you. It only works, and it could be a good idea for some people, only if they really do use my 4 to 6 for something else. Because if I'm working like my full day, and then I'm trying to work between 4 to 6, but in between two things, between phone calls from the kids, and I'm trying to make everything happen. And then I do my personal stuff, because then it's going to be dinner with the kids and homework and all of that. And then again, I connect at night. Then I'm not using this idea properly, because I end up working more than I was before. So the real way to look at it is, if I want to do that, my 4 to 6 have to be mine. So I'm not trying to work or trying to make things happen. If I'm leaving at 4, I'm in the car, I'm on my own time. So when I'll connect, trying to compensate for the time I'm not working.
Annie BOILARD is our voice on workplace trends, and we're looking at the dead zone, 4 to 6 p.m. Annie, this is hard for me because I work early morning, so I'm not a 9 to 5er, so to speak. But I'm like, does work really get done between 4 and 6 o'clock? Does anything happen?
Yeah, that's why scientists started to look at that specific time period, because they noticed that kind of nothing really gets done for real. And it's more than one person here and there. It's when we look at teams' work result, we can tell that there is kind of a halt there. Even for people who don't have personal responsibilities between 4 to 6, their focus gets lower and it's more difficult. So it's not the best time of the day to get things done. For sure, studies have shown that time would be in the morning time. So before 10 o'clock, if possible, I keep a time for myself, no meetings, if possible, trying to, and getting really what we called in-depth focus work done. So when I have to really be focused and get things that are complicated accomplished. And then at the end of the day, and, it's pretty much the same if I do work or don't work between 4 to 6, I don't get much done. It doesn't make much of a difference.
So the workplace flexibility, one of the things that it does allow for is for us to be able to plan those interruptions, some of which you mentioned when you have to go pick up the kids or you have some personal things that you need to take care of during the workday. Have you seen advantages from that new flexibility? And you talked about having a focused moment in the morning, for example, and then having people leave between 4 and 6 to take care of personal things. But I imagine that we've seen other kinds of schedule organizations to allow for flexibility. Have you seen that?
There is a whole kind of flexibility model out there. And really the way we look at it in 2023 on a leader point of view, when you want your boss to think, how can my flexibility doesn't affect your objectives?
Right.
So we're trying to give as much flexibility as possible to employees. We're not talking about, we drive with objectives, not, time at work or number of hours worked, but really what did you do? Letting as much as possible the employee decide when they want to work, from where they want to work, and just focusing on the result. That's the trend. That's what we're trying to do. It's easier said than done, but that's the idea behind it. So you're right. There's a lot of ways of being flexible. The 4 to 6 is one of them. But the point is really, from the employee's point of view, how can, boss, you give me as much flexibility as I need, and I make it as transparent as possible for you so that it doesn't affect you. And that's why people would reconnect at night, or that's one of the reasons. That's the train of thought here.
Annie, what advice do you have to someone who's not sure about broaching the subject of making the workday a bit more flexible for themselves?
Again, 2023, your boss, usually that's the pattern. The boss wants you to talk if you need special treatment, if you need accommodation, if you need flexibility. Your boss would expect you to talk about this because they want to keep you. It's so hard to get new employees these days that it's much easier and much better when the employee can voice whatever expectations they have or needs they have so the boss can do something. It's like the worst case scenario for the boss is receiving a letter of, I'm leaving. And then you ask why, and the person says, 4 to 6 was not working. And you're like, oh my God, as the boss, you say, I could have done something if I would have known. That's what the boss wants to avoid at all costs. So usually people will more than welcome a conversation like that. It can start with, boss, can we take a few minutes, today, this week? I need to talk to you about, how I'm doing with this situation or how I feel with what this schedule has as an impact on me. And I'd like to see if there is openness and flexibility to try to find a solution that would work for both of us. Usually it's the way to start the first open-ended questions, like the way to introduce the conversation. And then I would say, feel comfortable as an employee to state what's in there for you and have clear expectations of what would help. Clear message of what would help. Usually you'll be more than welcome.
Okay, so just a little bit of confidence and a well thought out plan when you approach your boss. Last question for you, Annie. What do you think about the short Fridays? A lot of workplaces, I think of Concordia universities, some of the universities will have no afternoons, either every week or every second week. Everyone is just done by midday on a Friday in the summertime.
Yes. A lot of companies, and it's kind of a trend, try to see how can they be more flexible during summertime. Some have decided not to work on Friday afternoon. Sometimes it's a free Friday, one every 2 weeks. Other people have gone with 4 days a week. There's different ways of doing it. Some people have added holidays or vacation day to people so that they can add it on weekends during summer. There's no good or bad ways of doing it. The point is, what's expected is what helps the employer to recruit new employees or to keep the employees they already have is to make this extra step during summertime to try to be even more flexible. So the point here is if I work less, I can be just as productive as I used to be because I'll be more efficient every minute of the way. And that's what we're trying to do. And it's kind of, I would say we see more and more companies having those flexible policies during summertime.